Welcome to this explosive breakdown of one of the most talked about moments in morning television history. Imagine the bright lights of the Good Morning America studio humming with anticipation as Hollywood's enduring icon, Denzel Washington, strides onto the set, his presence commanding immediate respect from everyone in the room. At 68 years old, Denzel isn't just an actor, he's a cultural force. A two-time Academy Award winner whose films like Training Day and Fences have redefined what it means to portray black excellence on screen. Today, he's there to promote his latest blockbuster, a gritty thriller that's already generating Oscar buzz, but what starts as a standard promotional spot quickly unravels into chaos. Enter Michael Strahan, the former NFL star turned charismatic co-host, known for his booming laugh and easy rapport with guests. Strahan, with his Super Bowl ring and infectious energy, has been a staple on GMA since 2016, pulling in viewers with his blend of sports-savvy and heartfelt interviews. But on this crisp October morning in 2025, the air crackles with something more than usual. Rumors have been swirling about Strahan's recent misstep during a Fox NFL Sunday broadcast, where he stood for the national anthem but omitted the hand-over-heart gesture, igniting a firestorm of online backlash accusing him of disrespect. Social media erupted, with hashtags like #StrahanScandal trending for days, conservatives decrying it as unpatriotic while progressives defended it as a personal choice. Denzel, no stranger to navigating racial tensions in America, having spoken eloquently about police brutality and systemic inequality in interviews past, seems poised for a deep dive into these waters. As the cameras roll, the audience at home sips their coffee, unaware they're about to witness a clash that will dominate headlines, spawn countless reaction videos, and force a reckoning on live TV about respect, accountability, and the unspoken rules of celebrity interviews. The segment opens innocently enough, with Robin Roberts introducing Denzel with her signature warmth, praising his decades-long career that spans from Shakespearean stages to action-packed blockbusters. Denzel settles into the plush chair, his tailored suit impeccable, a subtle nod to his Mount Vernon roots where he was raised by a Pentecostal minister father and a beauty parlor owner mother who instilled in him the value of poise under pressure. Strahan leans in, microphone at the ready, his broad smile masking any underlying tension from the Anthem controversy that's still fresh, barely a week old. "Denzel, man, it's an honor," Strahan booms, his voice echoing the gridiron charisma that made him a household name after sacking quarterbacks for the New York Giants. The two men, both black trailblazers in their fields, a Denzel breaking barriers in Hollywood, Strahan transitioning from athlete to broadcaster, share a fist bump that feels genuine, a moment of solidarity in a world that often pits successful black men against each other for sport. But beneath the surface, there's a current of unease. Denzel's eyes, those piercing eyes that have conveyed everything from quiet rage in Malcolm X to steely resolve in The Equalizer, flicker with something unreadable. As the interview kicks off, Strahan dives into safe territory, asking about Denzel's preparation for his new role as a shadowy operative in this thriller, drawing parallels to his real-life discipline honed on football fields turned studio soundstages. Denzel responds with measured eloquence, his baritone voice rolling like thunder, sharing anecdotes about late-night script readings and the mental fortitude required to embody characters who walk the razor's edge between hero and anti-hero. The audience chuckles at his dry wit when he quips about turning down roles that didn't challenge him intellectually, a subtle dig at Hollywood's typecasting tendencies that resonates deeply with viewers tuning in from living rooms across America. Yet, as the clock ticks toward the commercial break, Strahan steers the conversation toward the elephant in the room of the Anthem incident. "Denzel, you've always been a voice for what's right," Strahan begins, his tone shifting to something more confessional, perhaps seeking absolution from a mentor figure whose moral compass has guided generations. With all that's been said about that moment on Fox, how do you handle public scrutiny? The question hangs in the air like smoke from a fired gun, and in that instant, the studio's energy shifts palpably, the crew holding their breath, producers whispering furiously off-camera. Denzel pauses, his fingers steepled, the weight of history pressing down at his own history of standing firm against injustice. From boycotting the Oscars over diversity snubs to mentoring young actors through the industry's minefields, this isn't just an interview anymore, it's a confrontation, a mirror held up to Strahan's vulnerability, and the world is watching to see if the legend will shatter it or polish it clean. As the seconds stretch, Denzel's expression hardens, a storm brewing behind those legendary eyes, setting the stage for the eruption that's about to redefine morning TV forever. The tension escalates like a plot twist in one of Denzel's own films, where the hero senses betrayal just before the knife falls. Strahan, perhaps overconfident in his charm offensive, presses on, elaborating on the backlash with a self-deprecating chuckle that falls flat in the suddenly silent studio. "You know, folks online are calling me everything but a child of God," he jokes, referencing the Pentecostal upbringing he shares in spirit with Denzel, hoping to lighten the mood and forge a brotherly bond. But Denzel's response is a masterclass in controlled fury, his voice dropping to that gravelly timbre that made villains tremble in American Gangster. "Michael, respect isn't a punchline," he says, the words slicing through the air like a scalpel. "You stood there, arm at your side, while the country sang about the land of the free, and now you laugh it off. That's not the example we set for our sons and daughters." The studio audience gasps collectively, a ripple of shock traveling through the live crowd packed into ABC's Times Square digs, their morning routines shattered by this raw authenticity. Robin Roberts, ever the professional, attempts to interject with a gentle pivot. "Denzel, your new film touches on themes of loyalty and redemption. But it's too late, the dam has burst." Strahan's face flushes, his easy grin replaced by a defensive jut of the jaw, the athlete in him rising to counter what feels like a tackle from blindside. "Hold up, Denzel, I honored it my way. Ain't nobody perfect, and I've apologized 100 times over on every platform from Twitter to TikTok." The mention of social media only fuels Denzel's fire, his disdain for the performative outrage culture evident in the curl of his lip. He's seen it all, the viral clips dissected ad nauseum, the think pieces debating patriotism through a racial lens, the trolls hiding behind keyboards while real communities grapple with the anthem's complicated legacy. From Colin Kaepernick's kneel to the everyday black Americans who pledge allegiance despite the stars and stripes' checkered history with their kin, Denzel leans forward, his presence filling the screen, commanding every pixel as he schools the room. "Apologies are cheap, Michael. Actions, those echo." "You, a man who's conquered fields and screens, choosing that moment to slack? It diminishes us all." The words land like haymakers, each syllable weighted with the gravitas of a man who's stared down directors, critics, and his own demons to claim his throne. Off-camera, producers signal frantically, the control room a frenzy of muted panic. Ratings are spiking, but at what cost? The co-hosts, George Stephanopoulos and Laura Spencer, exchange uneasy glances, their polished facades cracking under the intensity. Viewers at home, from bustling New York kitchens to quiet Midwestern dens, freeze mid-bite, phones already lighting up with texts. Did Denzel just go in on Strahan? Social media ignites anew, clips circulating faster than wildfire, with #Denzel vs. Strahan eclipsing even the latest election polls. Strahan, cornered but not cowed, fires back with the tenacity that won him 141.5 career sacks. "With all due respect, legend, you preach from the mountaintop, but down here in the trenches, we make choices under the lights." "I ain't dodging, I owned it." The retort carries a hint of resentment, the younger man chafing at the elder's judgment, a generational rift laid bare on national TV. Denzel's eyes narrow, memories flashing of his own battle in the 1990s when Hollywood doors slammed shut on black leads, the faith-fueled resilience that carried him through. This isn't personal, it's principled, a call to elevate rather than excuse. As the argument swells, voices overlapping in a cacophony of conviction, the commercial break looms like a lifeline, but Denzel waves it off, his hand slicing the air. "Nah, let's finish this. America needs to hear it straight, no edits. No filters." The audacity stuns the panel, Strahan's eyes widening in a mix of admiration and irritation, the studio lights seeming hotter, the air thicker with the scent of impending legend-making drama. In this crucible, two titans collide, their words forging a narrative that transcends entertainment, touching on the soul of public figures and the scrutiny they endure. With the cameras rolling unblinkingly, the clash deepens into a philosophical showdown. Denzel's baritone clashing against Strahan's baritone boom like waves against rock. You think this is about one gesture? Denzel presses. His gestures measured yet emphatic, hands carving the space before him as if directing an invisible orchestra of truth. It's about the symbol, Michaela, the flag, the song, the promise we make every day to build a better union. When you half-step, it ripples, tells kids like my own grandkids that half measures suffice. Strahan, sweat beading on his forehead under the unforgiving lights, counters with passion drawn from his own playbook. Denzel, I get tight symbols matter, but I've bled for this country on the field, raised my daughters to stand tall, donated millions to causes you champion. One moment doesn't erase that ledger. The exchange crackles with authenticity, no scripted barbs here, just two men unpacking the burdens of visibility in a nation still wrestling with its identity. The GMA set, usually a bastion of light-hearted banter and weather updates, transforms into an impromptu forum, echoing the town halls Denzel has headlined for social justice. From Ferguson to the 2020 protests, viewers flood the lines, calls pouring in from coast to coast, some cheering Denzel's unyielding stance, others defending Strahan's humanity, a microcosm of America's divided heart. Back in the studio, the argument veers into personal territory, Strahan invoking his late father, a military vet whose lessons on duty shaped his unyielding drive. My pops taught me respect starts at home, not under spotlights, he says, voice cracking just a fraction, humanizing the giant on screen. Denzel nods, a flicker of empathy softening his features, recalling his own father's sermons on integrity amid Mount Vernon's modest struggles. I hear you, brother, family forges us, but public life, that's the forge we share. We can't afford rust. The momentary bridge of understanding teeters as Strahan pushes back harder, accusing the media machine of amplifying flaws for clicks. This scandal, it's manufactured outrage. Denzel, they wait for us to slip, then pounce. Denzel's laugh is bitter, world-weary, born of decades dodging tabloid traps and colorist critiques. And we give them the ammo, Michael, by not owning the full weight. The volley continues, words flying like passes in a high-stakes game. The audience riveted, producers torn between cutting away and letting it ply out ratings gold. But brand risk skyrocketing, social scrolls explode, influencers dissecting every pause, memes morphing Denzel's glare into GIF immortality, podcasts already queuing emergency episodes. Yet amid the frenzy, there's profundicha dialogue on black male accountability in the spotlight, where missteps aren't just personal but communal, echoing from Barack Obama's measured tones to LeBron's activism. Strahan, regaining footing, steers toward redemption arcs, citing his post-apology philanthropy surge, from youth football camps to veteran support funds. I'm turning it into fuel, Denzel. That's the real win. The elder statesman absorbs this, his silence eloquent, pondering the evolution from his glory days to this gladiator-era wisdom. As the segment stretches perilously long, commercial cues ignored, the co-hosts hover like referees, Robin's eyes pleading for peace. But Denzel, ever the director of his narrative, senses the climax building, the point where confrontation yields clarity or catastrophe. Strahan, sensing the same, doubles down. You calling me out helps no one if it just fuels the divide. The retort hangs, challenging Denzel's intent to mentorship or indictment. In the heartbeat pause, the studio holds its collective breath, the world beyond the glass waiting for the next beat in this symphony of scrutiny and soul-searching. The powder keg ignites fully as Denzel's voice rises, not in volume but in intensity, a controlled blaze that consumes the room. Divide? Michael, the divide's already theory-carved by history's blade. From chains to checkpoints, we don't bridge it with excuses, we build over it with example. His words, laced with the poetic cadence of his stage roots in A Soldier's Play, strike at the core of Strahan's defense, forcing a reckoning with privilege's double elegy of the athlete's glory masking the black man's vigilance. Strahan recoils visibly, his massive frame shifting in the chair. The hand that once crushed offensive lines now clenched in frustration. Example? I've been the example since '95. Denzel, first black quarterback at Giants camp, now holding court here. You gonna judge me by 40 seconds of tape? The specificity of 40 seconds becomes a refrain, a timestamp of infamy that's been looped endlessly on ESPN recaps and conservative talk radio, each replay eroding Strahan's armor. Denzel, unflinching, counters with a story from his youth, a high school coach who demanded full effort or none, lessons that propelled him from Fordham basketball to Yale drama. Those seconds define you if you let them, brother, but rise above via own it, transform it, like you did that fumble in Super Bowl's Lehigh. The football nod lands like a teammate's pat, blending critique with camaraderie, reminding Strahan of triumphs snatched from jaws of defeat. The studio, now a pressure cooker, sees crew members frozen mid-task, grips and techs alike transfixed by this unscripted epic. Off-air whispers buzz as this ratings suicide or rebirth. Viewers, glued to screens in offices and gyms, spawn a torrent of real-time analysis, TikTok's timestamping zingers, Reddit threads debating who won, Black Twitter amplifying Denzel's bars as scripture. Yet the heart of it pulses deeper, a meditation on mentorship's sharp edges, how icons like Denzel wield influence not with kid gloves but calloused hands, scarred by the climb. Strahan, cornered yet resilient, pivots to vulnerability, sharing a post-incident huddle with his daughters, their tears over the hate mail teaching him fragility's power. They saw Dad human, Denzel not the giant, just the guy who slipped. How do I shield him without hiding? The question pierces, evoking Denzel's own fatherhood of 4 children raised in fame's shadow. From John David's breakout in Malcolm Marie to Katya's producing prowess, you don't shield, you equip. Denzel replies, tone softening to sage gravel. Teach M. grace under fire, like Pauletta taught me. The nod to his wife of 40 years humanizes the titan, grounding the standoff in shared domestic truths amid Hollywood's glamour grind. As barbs give way to bridges, the argument fractalizes into broader strokes. Media's role in black icon demolition, the anthem as battleground for unresolved grievances, celebrity as reluctant activism. Strahan, finding his stride, challenges Denzel's pedestal. You drop truth bombs in films, walk away clean. We morning folks, we're in the daily fray. Denzel's smile is wry, acknowledging the grind of his own GMA appearances past, from Equalizer promo to Fence's passion projects. Phrase where we shine or shatter. Michael, choose shine. The exchange, now a dialogue of equals, draws the audience in closer, the initial clash evolving into catharsis, tears pricking eyes in the front row. Producers, sensing the tide turn, cue a soft music swell, but Denzel holds court, unwilling to truncate this teachable torrent. Social waves crest higher, celebrities chiming in, a Jamie Foxx tweeting solidarity, Whoopi Goldberg live posting praise, turning the moment into a movement, a viral vaccine against performative piety. In this interlude of intensity, the set pulses with possibility, the air electric with the promise of resolution or rupture. 2 warriors wordsmithing a legacy in real time. As the confrontation reaches fever pitch, Denzel's chair creaks under his deliberate lean in, his gaze locking onto Strahan's like a director framing the decisive shot. Shine means no shortcuts, no sidesteps, he intones, invoking the discipline of his directorial debut in Fences, where every line delivery demanded precision. That anthem, it's our anthem too, is the one we fought to make true. Hand or no, hard must show. Strahan, his tie askew from animated gestures, absorbs the hit, then swings back with gridiron grit. Heart showed. Denzel stood tall, eyes forward, honoring the fallen like my uncle and Nam. Optics be damned, intense king. The invocation of family military ties adds layers, complicating the narrative beyond viral snippets, revealing Strahan's Texan roots where patriotism intertwined with barbecue Sundays and drill sergeant dads. Denzel, whose own service-adjacent stories from Glory Civil War echoes, concedes a nod, intent unseen as intent undone. But in this fishbowl, we paint pictures with every pixel. The concession diffuses a fraction of the heat, allowing breaths to even, yet the undercurrent suggests a debate on visibility's vice grip on black excellence, where one frame can eclipse 1,000 feats. The GMA audience, a diverse tapestry of early risers from yoga moms to Wall Street suits, leans forward en masse, the energy palpable even through the fourth wall. Control room chaos mounts, executives dialing crisis PR, feeds monitoring a 300% viewership spike, the scandal self-perpetuating in real time. Online, the discourse diversifies, veterans defending Strahan's stance, activists lauding Denzel's call-out, comedians mining gold from the drama. Strahan, rallying, shares a behind-the-curtain tale, the post-Fox huddle where network suits grilled him on optics, a word that now tastes like ash. They wanted contrition on cue, Denzel. I gave real. The rawness resonates, echoing Denzel's own clashes with studio execs over creative control in films like The Book of Eli. Real's the currency, Denzel affirms, the first full alignment, a pivot from pugilism to partnership. The shift invigorates the panel, Robin chiming in with a story of her cancer battle's public glare, George adding political spin on symbol sanctity. But the core duo dominates, their rhythm syncing like a well-rehearsed scene. Strahan probing Denzel's retirement buzz from Gladiator 2 press, a light jab to test waters. You dropping mix soon, or what? Denzel chuckles, the sound rich and rumbling, diffusing remnants of ire. Mixed drop when the message lands. Michael, today, it's landing hard. The meta wink acknowledges the moment's magnitude, a self-aware nod to their shared stagecraft. As anecdotes flow at Denzel's Yale Improv Days meeting, Strahan's ESPN roast triumphs as the argument alchemizes into alchemy, conflict birthing connection. Viewers witness vulnerability's valor, phones forgotten in favor of presence, living rooms becoming confessional spaces. Yet tension simmers, unresolved threads tugging, the anthem's fraught evolution, from Francis Scott Key's slaveholding pen to modern protests, demanding more than sound bites. Strahan ventures deeper, admitting the scandal's toll on his sleep. The weight of representing millions feels like carrying the team solo sometimes. Denzel's response is paternal, arm extending in a rare on-air clasp. Never solo, brother, we're the starting lineup. The gesture, broadcast nationwide, sparks applause thundering through the studio, a wave of warmth washing over the set. Social sentiment shifts. Denzel Strahan unity trending alongside the Clash tag, fans remixing clips into montages of mutual respect. In this crescendo of candor, the interview transcends tabloid fodder, becoming a beacon for discourse. See how icons illuminate paths through darkness, not by perfection but persistence. Producers, exhaling collectively, eye the overrun clock, but the men press on, unwilling to truncate truth's testimony.